For the past 50 years, the black community has been waiting on a Messiah. Since the death of Martin Luther King and the death of Malcolm X, we have been waiting in collective inaction for a new leader to emerge. My parents' generation, my grandparents' generation, and even parts of my generation have accepted the status quo that things are just the way they are. Because we have this nostalgia for the civil rights movement, many of us have been lying in wait for a time when we all came together to fight against a common enemy or fight for a common cause. This mentality is the reason that Barack Obama was so popular in 2008, because that's how we viewed him. But the problem today is that all of our leaders have been compromised. The leaders that we've had over the past 50 years have all used their charm, their charisma, their influence, their talents, their power to enrich themselves in lieu of fighting for justice and improving our community. And I'm talking about religious leaders, political leaders, business leaders, entertainers have all chosen personal financial gain over the needs of their people. They've chosen their lusts and their desires over their purpose. But what makes it even worse is we've celebrated them for that. Now, during the same time period, not a whole lot has improved in our community. We have more millionaires, but our families are broken. We're depressed more than ever. In the 1960s, two-parent households made up 80% of our community. Today, they stand at less than 30%. In the 1960s, we owned more land than we own today. During that era, the black church was the centerpiece and moral authority of the family and togetherness. Now the church doesn't speak on anything that's going to slow down its cash flow. Our communities are worse than ever. We are divided as we've ever been. Our children can't read or write at an acceptable level. We don't own anything. Our families are in disarray, and we have no core values that hold us together. We've never been this separated. You know, the art of war says that all war is based on deception. And so for me, I don't concern myself with the person that says they're my enemy. I don't concern myself with the person that says that they're against me, because if I know they're against me, I know how to prepare for that. I know how to defend myself against that. I know how to combat that. During the civil rights era, we knew who our enemy was. See, me, I concern myself with the people that say they're my friend, or the person that says they're on my side, but their actions don't line up. And I don't really think that we know or understand what's going on in this world. I don't think we understand that we are being deceived and we are at war with a certain group of people. In reality, there's a whole nother group that purports to be our friend, but they're really our enemy. See, it's easy to protect yourself against segregation because you know who your enemy is. You know that they tell you they don't like you. They tell you they're against you. They tell you they don't want you to have equal rights. So even though it was difficult, we were very clear about who our enemy was. Today, we don't have that clarity. Today, we're clueless as to who our opposition is. Today, the people that call themselves our friends and allies are sometimes the same people that want to destroy us. See, if your enemy comes at you directly, they run the risk of retaliation. They run the risk that you can prepare for their attack and you can rebut their attack. But if they come at you indirectly, if they come at you with a sleight of hand, if they come at you with a smile on your face, then it becomes very hard to pinpoint who your opposition is. If you ever saw the movie Inception, it is a movie based on placing an idea in the mind of a person to get them to act in a specific manner. Because if you tell them to do it, or if you force them to do it, or if you coerce them to do it, then they know it's not their idea. And even if they do it, they're going to do it reluctantly because they know that you tried to manipulate them and they know that you are their enemy. But if you create an environment, if you create a circumstance, if you create a system that allows them to adopt that idea on their own or for themselves, they have no clue who their enemy is. That's what's going on in the world today. That's what's going on in our culture. the music that we listen to, the images that we listen to, the things that we are exposed to, the environment that many of us are forced to grow up in, the propaganda that is placed upon us. All of those things are in place to incept the idea in our minds that we can destroy ourselves, or we should destroy ourselves, and now we have no clue who our enemy is. If you rap about guns, drugs, sex, and killing for 30 years straight, it is safe to draw the conclusion that you're going to incept the idea in your mind that that's a normal way of life. If all you see are images of homosexuality or broken relationships or conflict and combat amongst yourselves, is it not safe to draw the conclusion that you're going to believe that that is a normal way to conduct yourself? See, nobody has to come out and say, we just don't like you, we're against you. That's too risky. That allows people to mobilize and galvanize because they have a common enemy. So instead, they create an environment that allows us to be incepted with the idea that we should destroy ourselves and enjoy doing it. That's what I'm trying to change. The Art of War also says, if you don't know your enemy and don't know yourself, you will never win a battle. If you know your enemy and know yourself, you win before the battle even starts. And if you know yourself but you don't know your enemy, you'll only win half the time. Right now, we're our own enemy. We're destroying ourselves and we're fighting against ourselves because we have been placed in an environment and we have been incepted with the idea that these things are normal. The pursuit of personal pleasure, the pursuit of selfish desires in place of our purpose is how we've been living. We give our children access to messages that train them to be evil, that train them to be selfish, that train them to be untrustworthy, that train them to have no standards. And then we wonder why the cycle continues to repeat itself. We don't know who our enemy is, and in fact, we have become our own enemy.